In the previous video, you have learned to differentiate rational functions from rational equations and rational inequalities. Also, rational equations from rational functions and rational inequalities, etc. Also, you have learned that all rational functions are rational equations, and not all rational equations is a rational function. You also learned how to solve rational equation and how to determine the restrictions in the denominator of a given rational equation. For today's video, you will learn how to solve rational inequalities. And this is the second lesson on the topic about rational function. But before that, let me give you the objectives of today's lesson. Number 1, determine the critical values. Number 2, solve rational inequalities. 3, express the solution set in interval notation and in set notation. Set notation is also set interval notation. Number 4, graph the solution set. And lastly, solve problems involving rational inequality. So, yun yung mga objectives of today's lesson. And I'm going to give you an example on how to attain these objectives. Okay, thank you.
So, good day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve rational inequality by following suggested steps in finding the solution to a given rational inequality. Actually, it consists of 6 steps. Okay. Now, we have here example number 1. The rational inequality is 4x plus 1 all over x plus 3 greater than or equal to 3. Now, to solve this rational inequality, we're going to follow, as I've said earlier, 6 steps. Okay. The first step is we're going to rewrite the given rational inequality with 0 on the right side by applying addition property. So that is the first step. Step 1, rewrite the given rational inequality with 0 on the right side. So that will be the first step in solving rational inequality. So paano daw yon? Paano natin marirewrite yung rational inequality na kung saan 0 yung right side? Now we're going to apply addition property. Okay? So this is step 1. Paano yon? So we have 4x plus 1 over x plus 3 greater than or equal to 3. So the addition property is just simple adding and subtracting to both sides of our rational inequality by the same number or by the same expression. So to remove 3, this is the right side ng ating inequality. I'm going to subtract 3 here. So if I subtracted 3 to the right side of the inequality, I'm going to subtract 3 also dun sa ating left side ng ating inequality. Okay. So the result is 4x plus 1 over x plus 3 minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. So yun yung ating step 1. Na i-rewrite na natin siya sa isang inequality na kung saan 0 yung ating right side ng ating rational inequality. And the second step is step 2, we combine the expressions. Okay? Combine the expressions. We have here a rational expression and we have a constant term. Okay? Paano natin i-add yun? We get the least common denominator of these two. The least common denominator is x plus 3. Okay? So we have x plus 3 here. Okay? So understood, meron ditong 1. So x plus 3 divided by x plus 3 is 1. times 4x plus 1 is 4x plus 1. 4x plus 1. And x plus 3 divided by 1 is 1. X plus 3 times negative 3 is that will be negative 3 times x plus 3. This is greater than or equal to 0. And then, we expand. We simplify. Pag simplify, we have, lagay ko na lang dito, 4x plus 1 minus 3x minus 9 all over x plus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Then we combine like terms. 4x minus 3x is 3. And we have 1 minus 9 is negative 8 over x plus 3. This is greater than or equal to 0. So we have now the new form of rational inequality. Napagsama na natin yung mga expressions sa left side at 0 na rin yung right side of our inequality. So the resulting inequality now is x minus 8 over x plus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So here is now the third step in solving rational inequalities. And the third step is find the critical values. Ano ba yung critical values? Ito yung values of x that makes the expressions undefined. Now, based from our new rational inequality na na-form by combining expressions, paano natin makukuha yung critical values? Simple lang po, all we have to do is to equate all factors on top and bottom ng ating rational inequality. Okay? Kasi yung mga critical values na yan, sabit ko nga, siya yung values na kung saan yung expressions natin magiging undefined. So, to solve for the critical values, on top, we have x minus 8, yung factor natin doon, o yung expression natin sa top. We equate that to 0. Therefore, x equals 8. So, this is one of our critical value. Okay? The next is yung nasa ilalim. We have here x plus 3 equals 0. To solve for x, we transpose 3 to the other side. That will make x equal to negative 3. So therefore, the critical values are x equals 8 and x equals negative 3. So dalawa. Okay. Right after step 3, the next will be step 4. And step 4 is about find the intervals. Okay. Find the intervals. Ano yung intervals na yon? Kasi based from these critical values, yung real number line natin, nadidivide natin siya into intervals. Okay? So to understand kung anong ibig kong sabihin, I'm going to draw a real number line here. Yan. Yun yung positive side, this is the negative side. This is, let's say, this is 0. So, naandito yung ating critical values. We have here negative 3. Let's say this is 8. So, if we're going to look at our real number line, yung ating real number line nahati into 3 intervals. This is the first interval that is from negative infinity to negative 3. Okay. And the second interval is from negative 3 to 8. And the fourth interval is from 8 to positive infinity. Yan po yung ating mga intervals. Okay. Yung intervals na yan, ang gagamitin natin para malaman natin kung ano yung solution set ng ating given rational inequality. We're going to assign values dito sa mga intervals na to test if this is part of the solution ng ating rational inequality. At gagawin natin yan dun sa ating fifth step, which is we're going to make a table and we're going to test a point on this intervals. Okay, so the fifth step is we're going to make a table and test a point. So we have now the fifth step in solving rational inequalities. And step number 5 is we're going to make a table and test a point. So this is our rational inequality now, x minus 8 over x plus 3 greater than or equal to 0. It means that the quotient is either 0 or positive. Okay? That will make this inequality true. Okay. So we have now the table. Yung table natin consists of the following intervals: test value, sine of x minus 8, sine of x plus 3, and sine of the quotient, which is uh, x minus 8 over x plus 3, and then the checking. At yung ating first row, papansin nyo, naroon yung ating mga intervals. The first interval is negative infinity to negative 3, negative 3 to 8, and 8 to positive infinity. So what we're going to do, we're going to test these intervals na nagawa natin kanina sa step number 4 kung magiging true yung ating inequality by assigning a value to x that belongs to these intervals na to. Okay, now, ano yung mga i-assign nating value? Dito sa interval na to, negative infinity to negative 3, we can assign any value basta't kasama sa kanya. Pwedeng negative 4, yun na lang. Okay, negative 4. Dito, we can assign 0. Mas madali-dali. Here, we can assign 9. Okay? Huwag na kayong mag-assign ng mga may mga decimal pa. Negative 3.5 o 0.2 or 8.8. So, mas magiging madali kung integer na lang i-assign natin sa x para madali natin ma-solve yung ating quotient. Okay. Let us determine the sign of x minus 8. Okay. Anong sign niya? That will be negative 4 minus 8, that is negative 12. So, the sign is negative. Sign of x plus 3, negative 4 plus 3, that is negative 1. So, the sign of x plus 3 is also negative. How about the sign of the quotient? X minus 8 divided by x plus 3 is, so that is negative divided by negative, positive. Ano ibig sabihin ng positive? Ibig sabihin, this quotient is greater than 0. Okay? Kapag nag-assign tayo dun sa interval na to ng negative 4. Okay? Check natin kung tama. If x is negative 4, we have negative 4 minus 8 over negative 4 plus 3. It should be greater than or equal to 0. Negative 12 divided by negative 1 is positive 12. So, dinaretso ko na. That is greater than 0. Therefore, naging true. Ano? The inequality is true when x is equal to negative 4. Ibig sabihin po, itong interval na to ay part of the solution ng ating rational inequality. Okay? How about this one? If x is 0, let us determine the sign of this. X minus 8 is, 0 minus 8 is negative. 0 plus 3 is positive. Negative divided by positive is negative. So, ibig sabihin negative, this expression will be a negative number, and that is negative, not greater than or equal to 0. Let's find out by checking. We have 0, so that will be 0 minus 8 all over 0 plus 3. Is this greater than or equal to 0? Negative 8/3 is not greater than or equal to 0. This is false because negative 8 over 3 is less than 0. Therefore, this interval is not solution dun sa ating rational inequality. Okay? Last one. We have 9. We have 9 minus 8 is positive 1 or positive. 9 plus 3 is positive 12 or positive. Positive divided by positive is positive. So, possible, kasama to sa solution ng ating rational inequality. Let us check. We have 9 minus 8 all over 9 plus 3. Is this greater than or equal to 0? We have 1 over 12. this greater than or equal to 0? Yes, true. Therefore, kasama to sa solution of our rational inequality. Ito, hindi kasama. Kasi nag-false siya when we substituted 0 to x. And itong dalawang ito, ang solutions ng ating rational inequality. The intervals, negative infinity to negative 3 and 8, positive infinity. Now, we move on to last step in solving rational inequality. And that is write the interval solutions. So we have now the last step in writing the interval notations. So, di ko muna binura to kasi para makita natin kung ano yung ating solution sa ating rational inequalities. So, true dito, sa interval na to, true din dito, false dito. So, itong dalawang ito ang solutions sa ating rational inequality. How do we write the interval notations? So, ito na yung dalawang solution. Our answer is negative infinity to negative 3 union. Okay? Ibig sabihin, yung dalawang yon ang solution sa ating rational inequality. The union of these two intervals. Okay? Now, ito ba'y open interval? Check natin. Based from this rational inequality. If x is negative 3, hindi pwede. So, ibig sabihin, magiging 0 yung denominator. Therefore, negative 3 is not part o is not included sa solution ng ating rational inequality. Tama lang siyang open interval. How about 8? So, substitute natin 8. 8 minus 8. 8 plus 3 greater than or equal to 0. 0 divided by 11. So, 0 is greater than or equal to 0. True. So, ibig sabihin, 8 is included sa solution ng ating rational inequality. So, instead of open interval, this is half open interval. Okay? Because 8 is included sa solution set ng ating rational inequality. So, dapat to ay bracket. So, this is our answer in interval notation. How about in set builder notation? We write x such that x should be less than negative 3. And x should be greater than or equal to 8. Okay? So, yun ang sagot natin. This is interval notation. This is in set builder notation. Bakit ganon? Kasi ito lang, sa real number line, this is negative 3, this is 8. So, ito lang ang solution set niya. 8 to positive infinity and negative infinity to 3. So, ito kasama to. Okay? Ito hindi kasama. Kaya siya ay parenthesis. Okay? So, ito ang magiging sagot natin sa graph solution set natin. At ang hindi pwede maging value niya, itong nasa gitna. That will be my first example. So, thank you.